Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live for another Film Fanatic show. It is Sunday at about 11:26. Hope everyone is having, or has had, or it's still not over, or is having a good weekend or a great weekend. So, yeah, I we got some music, a couple of music announcements to make. I guess first, as far as the in the world of quantum, we have a couple of shows coming up, which I'm pretty psyched about. One big one that I'm really psyched about that's coming up in April, which is a little bit of ways, a little ways away. On April 27th, my band Quantum will be playing at Hey Sailor, which is I don't know, just such an awesome venue. I've been fortunate enough to play there a lot this winter. It's just a wonderful venue run by just a great team of people. It's owned by Kirk and Charlie. Great guys. They're totally into music. Amazing food. It's just been a really awesome experience, and it's been great for the local music scene here in Mid Coast, Maine. So much music going on there, and it's been just wonderful. And I've been really excited that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of it. But we have a big show coming up there on April 27th, which is a Saturday, and we will be playing with the Button Men. The Button Men is a group that is made up of or comprised of a guy named Wally, who used to be the guitar player in the Mallet Brothers. Super cool guy. He's just fabulous. His music is super killer. Great dance. Um, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I would say it's definitely like in the '80s vein of things, but killer stuff. Great, electro '80s synth dance music. And so we're going to be playing together. We've been trying for a while to play a show together, and we're working on doing some more things for a while. We did play it at the same festival, not at the same time or at the same venue, but we were both at the same festival last year when we got to play at the All Roads Festival. So, which was awesome. So, very excited about working with Wally and looking forward to doing some more shows together because we've been talking about it for a while. So, this will be the first one. So, I'm pretty excited. He's pretty fabulous. And then coming right up, we have another show that just kind of got booked, brand new show. And we're going to be at Hey Sailor on March 2nd. So there's going to be this great electronic group coming from Portland that's going to be playing. Stay tuned for that. There'll be a bunch of promotion. That gig just came up. So that's coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, it'll be a great time. So I've done pretty much every time I've gone to this wonderful series of events that's been going on. I've done a show on the whole experience, and it's just amazing. But the last, well, it's kind of going on almost 2 years, but the last um, year and a half or so has been amazing. There's been this new organization that has kind of busted out on the scene, and they're called Waldo After Dark. And again, I've gotten to know everyone involved with the people who were responsible for the show and put on the show, and they're just amazing people. Buffy and Sam, just amazingly cool people. They have, I think for me, as far as movies go, it's my favorite attraction. It's the coolest thing to go to be involved with. They kind of the Waldo After Dark series is basically it's all at the Waldo Theater in downtown Waldoboro, which is just an amazing theater. They went through this big transformation in the last couple of years. It's just a gorgeous venue, all kinds of great shows. they've brought in so many great acts, including director John Waters. They've brought in Henry Rollins. So many great shows. And the movie thing has been just fabulous, especially with Waldo After Dark. They kind of specialize. All the movies that they've been showing and that I've been to are kind of all in the low budget, kind of indie exploitation realm. They show lots of films from the early '80s, especially some films in the '70s. I've seen so many great movies there. I got to see Maniac Cop there, which is one of my favorites. On Halloween, which I don't think it was the last movie I saw there. It could be though, which is kind of crazy. But they had Dario Argento's Suspiria there. I've seen, which was amazing to see on the big screen. Uh, and they're also very big fans of anime as I am, and especially the old school stuff. They showed Akira there, and that was pretty amazing to see. And I've seen a bunch of movies there that I've never seen before, and it's been just awesome. And it's like a state of the art experience with the sound and picture. And so last night they had Prince's Purple Rain, which is a movie that I think it's easily one of the greatest kind of concert movie experiences that you can have. I think it's right up there, which you know again I think it might be the greatest kind of concert movie experience, and that is Talking Heads. Stop Making Sense. But I think Prince's Purple Rain is it's obviously like the Talking Heads film is pretty much just a real concert experience. You feel like you're in the cockpit or the driver's seat in the performance as from the performance aspect. Breathtaking. And but the Purple Rain film, which was released in 1985, is again it's got so much incredible music. One of the best, if not the best, period for Prince in his amazing eclectic career. He was such a innovative performer in every conceivable way, and I think the thing that's really different about Purple Rain was is that while I hadn't seen it in an incredibly long period of time, I saw it like a few times I when it had come out, and I was really little, and I remember when it came out in 1985, so I was almost 10 years old. And I remember seeing the trailers for it, and it was like, wow, who is this weird guy? This looks crazy. I remember that being my reaction, and I remember it almost being kind of, um, I don't know, in a weird way, kind of scary. I don't know why, but and then I don't know. I think it was probably in middle school or high school is when I actually saw it, and I saw it on VHS. I saw it uh, on cable, and it was amazing. So, but I went last night. They had a big, amazing showing of Purple Rain last night for that was part of the Waldo After Dark, and it had been such a long time since I've seen it. It was like seeing it for the first time, but there are parts of it I did remember, but just amazing. The highlight for me of that film is the title track, "Purple Rain," which I'm a huge Prince fan, but I kind of have to say that tune, "Purple Rain," is probably my favorite performance or favorite composition or song by Prince. Every time I hear that song, I just get, I don't know, I kind of get choked up almost to where I feel like I'm going to start crying. It's just such an emotional song. One part it's about loss and tragedy, but then it's also really, really inspiring and hopeful. So it's got all of this, for me at least, in my experience around the song, it has all this juxtaposition around it. But it's such a powerful song. And I've always said, and it's a conversation that I've had with people for a long time over the years. Not only, obviously Prince being one of the greatest pop stars in the history of the world, and one of the greatest, most electrifying performers, in the universe. I've always felt he is, one of the greatest guitar players ever. I think he's, I'm I'm a kind of a closet, or not a closet, but I'm a huge fan of guitar players and guitar history and all those things. It's something I used to play guitar, but only to the capacity of, where I would use it to write songs. Never got to the ability to play in public. I played guitar once, I think, in public, and that was enough. But I've used it for a tool to write lots of music over the years, and haven't picked it up in a very long time, but I really, really love it. I spent a few years where I played a lot of guitar. But anyway, so I've always been fascinated with guitar players and guitar, gear and pedals, and I have like guitar players that I've always really loved, and it's something I've always followed. And I've always thought, Prince is one of the most incredible guitar players ever to pick up a guitar. And I always have felt that like he never really got that kind of credibility. He gets the right, obviously the just accolades as far as being one of the greatest performers ever, and his music being just incredible. But I never feel like he gets that same treatment when it comes to just his guitar playing. So, I think the song "Purple Rain," the title of the movie, is an example of his guitar playing, which I think it is like one of the most. His solo in Purple Rain, I think, is just easily one of the most powerful and one of the most emotional, kind of gut wrenching guitar solos I have ever heard in my entire life. Um, the original studio album version and the album itself that this movie where it takes place is of course just incredible and amazing. My favorite version ever of Purple Rain, of Prince performing the song, was when back in the day he was a guest on the Arsenio Hall show, and I think you can find it on YouTube. But he was on Arsenio Hall. I used to watch that show a lot as a kid. He was a guest on Arsenio Hall, a musical guest, and he played Purple Rain, and it is like it's completely mind blowing, like next level. But anyway, Purple Rain is a pretty unique movie because it's a like a concert experience. I feel on one hand, I think it very much has that kind of feel or that aesthetic, like you're experiencing Prince and the Revolution as a live band at a club, and all of the magic that they were able to create. But it's also acts as a film. It's a regular film also, and it's also like semi. From what I've read about the film, it's kind of loosely based on Prince's life, his rise to becoming the icon that he was. So it's a really interesting, combination, and I believe some of the things in the film are not like, really necessarily attributed to his life or his him growing up. But there are facets of it that are very true. That's from what I've gathered from reading about the film, and I love the way I think this film is so. The editing is so fabulous. I love how they're able to cut back and forth from the film version of the movie to and the storyline and the direction to the concert experience. It's really, I feel like it's seamless. Like it doesn't feel. I've had that experience before with other kind of music movies or movies that are sometimes similar in tone, where it can kind of when there's like the switch from suddenly the film is is taking place where there are a group of people just sitting around having a meal, and then it gets you get brought right into like this concert experience. Sometimes it can be maybe not really well edited, or it can kind of take you out of a particular experience, which isn't great. I've had that happen to me with certain films that are music, not documentaries, but they kind of ride that line. But I feel like Prince's Purple Rain, it's it's that was one of the things that stood out watching it last night. It was seamless. It bounced back and forth between those two kinds of worlds perfectly. The editing was great. It was funny because after we got done watching the movie, there was a lot of people there, which I figured, it's a very popular movie. It's an iconic movie. I figured there would be a good turnout because it is a very popular film, which there was. And I remember, some of my friends I was with, we went to the lobby and we were talking to Sam and those guys, and there was one woman who was standing there who the first thing she said was that she hadn't seen it in years and years, but she said, if it wasn't for the music sequences, this movie is she was saying how awful the movie is, like how just terrible from a movie perspective, that the movie is just awful and kind of unwatchable and terrible. But when it comes to the music and the concert footage, it's amazing. But she said you got to sit through all this other crap, and it was funny, because I thought the whole time I was watching it, and again I hadn't seen it in years, so it was like experiencing it for the first time. And the obvious extra bonus was getting to see it on this beautiful screen. The sound was amazing. It was great. It was just amazing. But it was really, there were parts of the film I did remember, like especially the ending, the big climax where he performs Purple Rain. I remember that. That's always been etched in my memory. But it's for the most part, it was like seeing it for the first time, and I had never seen it on the big screen, so it was incredible. But I thought, like I knew it was funny because I knew the music was really good, and I forgot going into it if it was. I was like, is it? I can't remember what the structure was. What it was like film wise. Was it just a concert? Was it, was Prince in the film acting and that kind of thing? And I thought the whole thing was seamless. I thought on both fronts. Obviously, the concert music part of the film was just mind blowing and spectacular. But I thought that when it came to the film, the direction, the acting, the writing, and the editing, especially, I thought the editing was just fantastic. I thought it was really good. I thought it's actually a really good movie, aside from the spectacular music. So I don't agree with this woman, but hey, that's fine. I don't think it's something that, well, you got to sit through all this crap to just get to the performances, but I think all of the other stuff is just great. I thought it was totally awesome. And I think Prince, you know, definitely, he passed away a few years ago. Really, really, it was a very tragic, shocking turn of events. Very premature. I believe. I don't even know if he was 60 years old or not. I mean, Prince looked so incredible. He looked so amazing his entire life. He never looked his age, but it was a tragedy when he died. He had a lot more life to his career, and would be still putting out records now. But I think Prince is easily one of the most important like pop icons in the world. I think there's like a short list of people who I feel are like, you have your stars, you have you have people who are, you have artists that have a name, or they are, they have a certain kind of command. They have an audience. They're very successful. And then you have, you know, your like mega pop stars. People where their popularity and their talent, their genius was so far-reaching that their names are, part of our culture. Everybody and their grandmother knows who these people are. And I feel like there are certain artists that are, and it's not a huge list, but I think it's definitely, when it comes to like say pop icons, people that really influenced not only music and culture, but I think they influenced culture on a social level. I think you have people like Elvis Presley, David Bowie, Michael Jackson, and I feel Prince would be another one. Like I feel like it's those four. There's obviously more, and there's room to probably put more people on that list. But as a short list, people that I think of as being, you know, true pop icons that, were when they were in the height at the height of their career, they were they were like this tidal wave. They were more than just, it was more than just the music or the image. They were a phenomenon. They were a cultural phenomenon. And I feel like as a short list, those artists are those people, and Prince was definitely one of them. I mean, he's helped and shaped pop music, R&B, dance music, electronic music. I mean, without his influence across the board, music would significantly be different. It would still be a thing, but it would have a different flavor. Definitely one of the most important figures in music history, for that matter. And such an interesting character because he had a level of mystery, an element of danger, um, the the eroticism that he brought to the stage, very provocative, and he had, I think, a darkness to his sound, to his music, the sensual, the sexual aspects, like I mentioned, the larger than life, almost creating this godlike persona. Just unbelievable. He was. I don't look at him as being like a figure. I look at him as being more. I look at Prince as being more of just like this. I don't know. Of course, he was a mortal man, but I look at him as almost being like where his status was, and kind of still is, not being like this figure, but being like this more of this force of nature. I mean, when you see the footage of him performing, it's kind of jaw dropping. Like you never see that in performance really anymore. You never see anyone have such a high level of where the music, the production, the presentation is all at such a high level. You just never see that. Now you see, well, in the pop world, you see people who come up, they have a flashy kind of stage show and they'll have dancers. Or in the rock and roll world, you'll still have most people show up in jeans and a t-shirt. With Prince, though, he it was a theatrical experience. It was like going to a play or a show, and I feel like all of the other artists I mentioned, they were all about that. It was the whole package. Every detail that was used to kind of create their art was meticulously uh, focused on and brought to the table. And everything, every aspect of it was kind of like on equal ground. But amazing, amazing movie, like incredible. And so the Waldo Theater again, the Waldo After Dark, especially the best organization around. There's some more shows coming up. Gotta support these people. They are doing amazing work. It's the best. If you're a fan of movies, it's the best thing that you can do for yourself. And I hope they keep cranking it out. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.